What's up, guys and gals? It's time for the latest piece of One Piece, chapter 1138, entitled The Harley Text. Now, right out of the gate, yes, this is incredibly late. I was under the weather, and I really wanted to spend some time trying to figure out, like, what my thoughts on the big thing at the end of the chapter, the Harley Text themselves, the mural. There's so much going on there, and in all honesty, I'm glad I waited because I just finished watching the Harley Sacred Text of Elbath with the Library of Ahar, Artor, and Tekken 101. Likely, I would argue, the two most knowledgeable One Piece guys in the community for sure, right up there next to Oda and the guys who write the Wikipedia entries themselves. These are the guys, you know what I mean? So, in my opinion, I was just like, okay, is there some obvious things to talk about? Is there not? And sort of idea. And I wanted to wrap my head around it. And suffice it to say, at the end, we're going to go through the chapter. But I just want to say right out of the gate, if you want in-depth, pinpointing every little thing in that mural, go watch that video. It's like a 2-hour long discussion between those two. And they're just theorizing. They're just spitballing and stuff. So there's very little stuff that they said that I would really add to that in this regard. And that's not me just saying, oh, I'm being lazy being a reviewer or whatever. But the review's already pretty late. There are so many theories out there on Reddit and Discord and YouTube and stuff like that. And at this point, I'm just sitting there going, well, I agree with a lot of them. Maybe, maybe not. You know, you can interpret it. That's the great thing. They're almost like the Dead Sea Scrolls or something like that. Like finding something like that. You could interpret this 19 different ways, all very well founded, and still all completely wrong. You know what I mean? So instead of spending an hour or better talking about each detail and how I think it's going to go, we will talk about the mural, but mostly let's talk about the chapter. So going through this, we have, it's obviously who's who here, and he's looking pretty swag. He's looking pretty swag. You know, he's got his kimono on. He's like, hey, now I'm still the boss of this region, you know, and he's wearing his stuff. He's looking pretty swag. He was one of the cooler of the Topiropo to begin with, and now he's just looking, you know, he's got the sandals on, he's got the floral kimono thing going on down below and stuff like that. He's just looking like a baller. I mean, obviously, some of these Wano women are, obviously, they don't seem to be super happy about being there. They seem to be a bit under duress. This is probably part of his original crew and stuff. And he would be the one in charge if all of the, if the calamities are gone and Kaido is gone. Who's who, I believe, was the top of the Topiropo, him or Sasaki. So, fact of the matter is, he would technically be the last one in charge, or the next one to take over as far as the Beast Pirates are concerned. So, kind of interesting there. Now, Loki is still not dead, by the way. Loki is still not dead. This is kind of crazy. It was like, okay, obviously Loki was killed in some way, shape, or form, but apparently that was not the case. This is really cool here. So, we not only got confirmation that this man is Shamrock. He is Shanks' twin brother. Obviously, Garling's firstborn sort of idea. All that fun jazz. But not only that. Destroying the Blackbeard theorists. Destroying them in one fell swoop. So, Loki's still chained to the tree. Beaten, bloody, halfway near death. And he's just like trying to provoke Shamrock here at this point. Or I don't know if he intends to do this. But Shamrock, obviously Shanks must be an incredible sore spot for him. Because he's just like, you look like him. That red hair. And Gunko's trying to say, like, hold your tongue. Nothing you need to know and stuff. It's like, it ain't my business. Says Loki, but a great pirate. You know, a Yonko no less. And a celestial dragon stand on opposing sides of a world of power. And you gotta love the symbolism Loki's talking about here. He's like, so it just so happens that two twin brothers end up on total opposite sides of the world, on total opposite sides of ideals, and yet they're both the top. They're in the top echelon of those sides of power. You know what I mean? It's not like, you know, I hate to use real world terms or something like that, but Suffice it to say, let's just say country B that's not a superpower. Let's try to keep it nice, okay? There's enough political crap going on in the world with an orange man doing what he seems to think is right. So there's a country B, okay? There's country A, and they're a superpower. And then there's country B, who's a superpower. And then there's country C, which is a third world country, no superpower whatsoever standing, right? It's not like Shanks or Shamrock ended up in country C. You know what I mean? By Loki's logic, he's like, this is insane. Not only are both of you completely separated at birth and stuff like that, and you both have this birthright, but you're at the top of your game. Meanwhile, your long-lost twin brother could have ended up in any of countries C through Z and ended up in country B. Ended up at the top of the opposition. Like, the irony there, you know, is sort of what Loki's trying to point out here. And I really like that. It's like, huh. Yeah, what really were the chances? This man is already born into basically the world nobles, leader of the world, sort of like that. Ends up lost at sea. Could have been raised by just really nice. Could have been raised by Bellamere. You know what I mean? Could have been raised by Tom, you know, with a Dawn. You know? Could have been raised by anybody, anywhere, anytime. Picked up by literally the king of the pirates himself, and becomes the top Yonko after the Pirate King's death. Becomes the top man of the pirate world. The literal opposition. It's like, the chances, you know what I mean? Like, he wasn't even picked up by, like, a mid-tier pirate. You know, he might still have ended up being a pirate and stuff, but he was trained. But would Shanks, of course, we know that Conqueror's hockey, for example, is it's a genetic inherited trait, right? You don't train to get Conqueror's hockey. Conqueror's hockey is within willful individuals. People with willpower, born with it, right? It's not something, it's just like natural talent. You know, you can work really hard at armament and observation hockey. You can't get Conqueror's hockey just by trying hard. You know what I mean? It's not something that hard work will ever achieve. We know this. So, Shanks still would have been born with Conqueror's hockey. He still would have done this, he still would have won that. But would he have been at the level? Would he have gotten as far as he did? You know? Because I'll put it to this way, how many undiscovered Michael Jordans are there? How many undiscovered Albert Einsteins are there in the world, you know, that end up in third world countries, in the wrong place at the wrong time, die in the gutter at the age of 11, and we never knew that could have been the greatest athlete, the greatest mind, the greatest inventor of all time, you know? For every Tesla, Einstein, Michael Jordan, and Pele we get, how many undiscovereds are there? You know what I mean? So Loki is pointing out that the chances of this happening are so goddamn low that this is almost like fate at work, you know what I mean? And it's like, this is bound to draw so much, and the fact that you both have the same face, this is bound to draw such curiosity, you know? And so Shamrock goes on to say, you know, that pirate is my, you know, twin brother and stuff like that. He returned to the Holy Land once, but he seems to prefer this filth of the lower world over the Holy Land. Now, when did Shanks return? This does not confirm that Shanks was the one who met with the Goro to say, I want to talk about a certain pirate. That could have been Shanks, could have been Shamrock at this point. Confirm that Shanks did go to the Holy Land at least once by Shamrock's own admission. So, was that this time? Maybe. There are many other possibilities. Could have happened during when he was on the pirate crew. Could have happened after Roger's death. Could have happened while he was a Yonko. Could have happened right before. Maybe that's what the difference was. Maybe he was declared a Yonko after he rejected the Holy Land. We have no idea, but it is confirmed that he did go there. So, Alright, so we still have it up in the air that he could have been the one. Shanks could have been the one who said, I want to talk to you guys about a certain pirate. You know? Could have been it could have been Shamrock talking about Loki, or it could have been Shanks talking about Blackbeard. We don't know. So, anyways, Loki says that he did return. That bloodline has now earned my ire now twice over. And I will, two separated brothers, each being targets of my giant's wrath, and stuff like that. You'll rule the day he stole my kingdom from me. And I'm just thinking the Shrek thing with the pigeon poop and stuff. Anyways, so yeah, but Loki is pissed here. He's like, you've killed all my animals. You've killed all my friends. Once again, going on the line of, animals have that sixth sense about people. They don't, I think, I like to believe that dogs barked when Hitler walked by. Do you know what I mean? Dogs barked. They didn't cuddle up to him. You know what I mean? Animals don't like evil people. That has been just a tried and true remark of many, many times. Animals, they gravitate towards almost kind-heartedness in a way, or loyalty, or goodwill. They gravitate towards that in some way. You know what I mean? And these animals, were obviously Loki's friends, and now he's pissed. He's like, you've killed them. I'm going to come for you. You know what I mean? And now Shamrock's just like, you're threatening me? And it's like, he's been threatening you guys this whole time, but now he finally takes offense. I found that a little weird. Either way, he's just like, oh, I won't. He's like, and Gunko's like, don't do it. You don't need to do this. He's like, you're right, I won't. They will, And it's like the implication being he summons. And once again, the Blackbeard theorists, forget about it. The Cerberus Zone has officially been founded. The Cerberus Zone is here, and it is in the form of Shamrock's fucking sword. Are we going to have a griffin versus a three-headed dog battle? Two mythical beings going at it from the brothers' swords? I mean, the sword is called Griffin. Little on the nose there. Not spelt the traditional way that Griffin is spelt as the mythological animal, but still spelt as Griffin in some contexts. So, it is just a spelling thing. It still means the mythical, blah, blah, blah. But not the typical one generally used. Could both swords have somehow both happened to be? I mean, the parallels there, the coincidence. But as Loki already pointed out, the coincidence is that these two brothers would be completely separated, and yet both reach the height of their professions as oppositions within their professions. The chances of that happening in the world are just so astronomical that at this point, why not? We got the Cerberus Zone. It looks absolutely incredible. It's obviously awakened. We get the black flame ring at the back there, so it's an awakened Cerberus Zone. And even Loki's like, what the hell is this thing? And Shamrock's like, it's my sword. And out of the beast's mouth, swords come out of, like a Cerberus teeth. A giant three-headed dog's teeth weren't terrifying enough. Then he's got blades on fire. Blades on fire coming out of said dog's mouth. So even if you survive the stabbing, it stabs you far enough that now you're going to get eaten. And burned. You're going to get eaten, stabbed, and burned all at once. 3 times. So that's 9 times. That's 9 injuries in one attack. This is broken as fuck. I'm here for it. I love it. But it is what it is. So either way, these dogs, they do this crazy shit. Gunko makes some type of bird out of arrows that can fly now. And it's like, Oda went out of his way to say, no, we don't have flying devil. They're very rare. We don't have them, blah, blah, blah. Or they're very limited in some way. Boom, all of a sudden, this thing with arrows, the arrow fruit can make a flying object, can make a plane. I'm hoping we're gonna figure out later in an SBS that it works more like a glider. Initial inertia happens, but they can only go so far, so distance. They can't go miles and miles and miles with this thing. Otherwise, this makes no sense that an arrow fruit can make you fly. That makes no sense. Either way, launches. He completely launches the Cerberus Zone at Loki here. Goes forth. He's going to attack him and all this stuff. Then this is where the Gunko basically is leading Shamrock away on this arrow bird. You can make the argument that, oh, the head of the bird thing is an arrow, so it's pointing to the direction that its force gravitates towards. And I'm like, kind of cool, but kind of weak in my opinion and stuff. So anyways, he says, Shamrock basically leaves Loki with, I attack. So he attacks him with Cerberus, and then he takes off. And he's like, if you survive this attack and you get out of here someday, feel free to come and try to kill me sometimes with your big threat sort of idea. And Loki's like, this is ridiculous. Like, damn you, Celestial Dragon. Damn you. And he even says himself that if I'm run through by this attack, all three of these, I'm going to, I'm definitely going to die. There's no chance here. But we thought he was going to die last chapter with Gunko's attack. So apparently that's not happening. Damn you to hell. Boom. Stabbed 3 times by the Cerberus Zone. And then Shamrock and Gunko remark that they're going to need another God Knight, and they're going to have to summon one. So apparently, to take over, they're going to start with the children, blah blah blah, and they're going to try to. Now, whether they know that these children are not raised as warriors yet remains to be seen, but they are definitely going to be like, because all the all the CP agents were intersected by roads, so is what it is there, right? Now, the Giants apparently were left alive in the castle, because we go back to the castle in Elbath, and Luffy is immediately like, yeah, no, Shanks couldn't have done that, you're lying, there's no way. But I mean, they were left alive. Very, very strange that they were left alive, but they were like, listen, we know Shanks, but the man looked exactly like him. Like, I don't know what to tell you sort of idea. He's been to Elbath many times. He's like, see, there you go. Why would he, if he's friends of your guys, he was just here, why would he attack you guys? Like, this makes no sense. And they were like, yeah, we were shocked to see him too here in the castle, but I mean, what do you want from us? Like, we're not lying and stuff like that, so it's not out of the question he would still be in the area and stuff. Luffy immediately said, but if what you're saying is true, then it just couldn't be Shanks. He's a cheerful guy. He's not full of himself. He'd never hurt a friend. He'd never do anything messed up and attack you and stuff like that. Now, Nami and Zoro have been with Luffy the longest, and even they're like, okay, we're going to put our faith. You have such faith in this guy. We're going to give you the benefit of the doubt. And even the Giants sort of say, well, I mean, this is a world of magic and devil fruit. It's possible sort of idea, right? And Luffy even brings up Bellamere, though he calls her like Mollimere. And it's just like, okay. And Nami's like, yeah, no, you're right. I understand the trust. It's like, what if somebody told you that about Bellamere right now? And he's like, okay. So the Giants bring up the fact that, well, I suppose could be an identical, someone who looks exactly like him could be an identical, basically says a twin brother in a sense. And it says, maybe? I mean, does Shanks have a brother? And then that's when Luffy goes, I actually don't know. I've never heard him talk about his family. I guess, the Roger and Rayleigh were basically his mom and dad, so I have no idea. And meanwhile, Scopper Gabon, it's not cheeky, guys. Scopper Gabon, like I said, is now walking up towards the castle. He's going to show up and he's going to be like, yeah, hey, wasn't just Roger. He's probably going to be smoking a cigar or some shit. He's going to have an axe on his back and be like, hey, listen, boy, wasn't just Roger and Rayleigh. I was the one on diaper duty, just so we're clear here. I was the one changing the kid's diaper. If anybody was mom, it was fucking me, Like, I'm waiting for that. It's like the Roger Pirates, aside from Buggy. Buggy getting all the hate. But it's, I guess the Roger Pirates were his family, from what I know, and stuff like that, right? Now, this is where we move on to the big thing. Like, all this would be great stuff. Is it Scopper showing up? They're mentioning Roger Rayleigh, Shanks' family. Yo, it's so exciting, right? And the Cerberus Zone and Loki is dead. Totally not dead, but is dead. And all this stuff, just like last chapter. The Cerberus Zone killing off not only the Blackbeard theory completely, but showing off just how powerful Shamrock is. He's got a sword with the fucking dog of the underworld in it. Like, let's go. All this would be cool on its own. Then we jump back to Frankie. And we jump back to Saul and Robin for a little bit here, but it's all basically tied together. They're talking about the holy tree, Adam and stuff like that. It's like, huh? We have this thing. It's called, like, we have a mural on the tree, on Treasure on this giant tree and stuff like that. It's carved into the tree bark. It's a cultural relic due to its historical value. And they said they estimated it to be drawn between 800 and 900 years ago, during the period of the Void Century. It's like, okay, it's time for some lore drop, right? It's like, we got to show this to Robin and stuff. Frankie looks upon this. It's like, this is a drawing from Elbath, but it looks so gigantic to me. And this is the history, the cultural exchange and stuff. And it simply means that it might be nothing more than a child's dream, or it could have all that, like Ripley's, she's explaining all this stuff, right? She's just trying to explain how there's so many interpretations. And so when we go back to the school and Robin is talking with Saul, he said, so this is the Harley text. It says, it sure is. All the various myths and legends of Elbath were created based on original text. There were so many interpretations of it, though. And that means that the sun god, all the warriors of Elbath believe in, has different personality depending on which one was telling the story by the campfire. Ain't that funny? So it's like real history. Like, obviously, they know, they have an inkling or a text. It's sort of like, okay, trying not to get too religious here, it's sort of like the Bible. The Bible is 100% open for interpretation and has been translated from language to language so much that original meaning could have been lost. And many people have made, many historical, professors of religion and historical texts and linguists and stuff like that have studied this and interpreted it in different ways. Who's right? We don't know, but this is very accurate to real world, how this works. We have a scroll, we have a piece of text from an ancient time. We don't have enough credibility to say that this is the absolute truth or it's not biased. History written by the winners, for example. And if these people have a certain faith, they're obviously going to be more on the side of their religion, or their political beliefs are going to bleed through their writing, right? Nobody writes a completely unbiased textbook, you know what I mean? And we can't, and even if there were such a thing, we cannot assume that it's unbiased when we don't know the person themselves. And we don't know their associations, their affiliations. We have no idea of this. So, this is a nice way of pointing it, is that we know there's a sun god, Nika, and all the warriors of Elbath believe in him, but depending on who is telling the story, and this is grand story, just similar to the Bible. I mean, granted, I've only been to church a handful of times, but depending on who was telling the story, Jesus was a pretty rad dude, and other times it was like, oh my God, this is horrifying, then other times it was like, oh my God, get down on your knees and cry. Depending on the tone of the person telling the story and the way that they interpreted it and the way they want to portray something as simple as that, it's just a monumental, it's insane. So now Robin starts to read it and says, here, and Saul opens the book and says, the story split up into 3 chapters, and they say that the 3rd chapter describes the world we live in today. It's something about about something that's gonna happen in the future. In fact, the legends of Nika are seeded all throughout the world from this original text. That's the one common feature, is the rhythm and the laughter and the dun 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 dun, doom da 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 doom da 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 and all that stuff. And this is where Robin says, well, I'll start reading and stuff, and we get the same. So we see this huge mural. And this is what I'm saying, the mural is the huge part of this chapter. Like, everyone's going nuts. And of course I have my own thoughts on this as well. But the text read is that the first world, so we got a lot here. Obviously, Noah's Ark is in here. Emu's in here. The creation of devil fruits. The Adam and the Eve tree. The ancient weapons are represented. The sea gods are represented. There are so much, the ancient kingdom is represented. So much is represented, especially here in the first. The moon is represented. So much is referenced here in the first world, which is, and once again, open to interpretation. There's a 2-hour video with Artur and Tekking, the most knowledgeable guys in One Piece, and they still, even they are just bang, 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 shooting shots everywhere, right? Saying, within the earth, there was fire. Mankind succumbed to greed and touched the forbidden sun. Now, this could be interpreted the way I'm just going to give you my initial thoughts. Within the earth there was fire. This is the mother flame, or some semblance of the ancient weapons, right? The enslaved prayed, and the sun god appeared. So, this is the first iteration of Nika. Nika appeared after the mother flame was initially found, or potentially devil fruits. It's hard to say. So the earth god, however, at the time, the earth, there was fire. The earth god raged, and with its serpent of hellfire shrouded the world in death and darkness, and they will never meet. I'm not sure, they keep saying the whole they will never meet part a couple of times throughout each of the worlds, the first world, the second world, the third world. What I'm sort of gathering from this, my interpretation so far, is that obviously the people of the ancient kingdom either found the method of devil fruits or the mother flame, and they became greedy and they harvested it. And this is what, like, we see the ancient kingdom, all the gears in the bottom and the factories, and people went down into the depths, found inside the earth the fire, and brought it back to the surface. This angered the earth god. The fire was not meant to be touched, and he summoned the serpent of hellfire. Is the serpent of hellfire one of the ancient weapons? Is the serpent of hellfire a literal god? You know, is it what does it represent? Is it when I was listening to the teching video, they interpreted this as the red line. The earth god's rage, and the serpent of hellfire was the red line, a literal serpent, the snake, Jormungandr, the snake. You know, creating and splitting the earth in that regard, splitting the earth in half, and the two sides shall never meet because the red line made a barrier, made a wall, as it were, right? All very potential possibilities. Now, in the second world, within the void, there was breath. The forest god tamed demons, and the sun spread the fires of war. Once again, there's many translations of this. I'm taking that the forest god tamed demons, I'm taking that as tame demons, the devil fruits. So, the forest god, the Adam and Eve tree, the source of all devil fruits, tame demons, the devils, and the sun spread the fires of war. As in, the sun god unleashed. It's likely that the first Nika, or the sun god, who is now released from the first world, during the second world, unleashed the devil fruits upon the world. Those of the half moon dreamed, not really sure what that one means. Those of the moon dreamed, man killed the sun. So Nika, after bringing about the devil fruits and the war and all that stuff, he seems to be more of a Christ figure. Those of the moon dreamed, the man killed the sun and became God. So either they killed Nika, or they, just tried to destroy or did destroy the mother flame in some capacity. We don't know. And the sea god stormed, and they will never meet. So I'm taking this as to mean that the sea got obviously really pissed off at man killed the sun and became God, as in they took on the godly powers, the powers of devil fruit. Man, after spreading the love, or maybe the Eve tree, maybe it was one of the, we're going Christianity on this one. It's just what I'm more familiar with. But if we have, or you could go Lord of the Rings with the two trees of Valinor, you could do the whole idea that this was the light and stuff, and once it was stolen, same with the eating of the forbidden fruit. So the trees were there to bring it about the end of the war, to bring peace, and this was Nika's mission, this was the sun god, something like that. And when the devil fruits were then taken by man to become gods, to get these godly powers, to become Logias, to become devil fruit users, you know, the sea god was enraged by this because it destroyed the balance. Like, you are not gods, and now they will never meet. So then the sea god cursed all of devil fruit users because they were supposed to be man and never supposed to touch the devil fruit. The tree, there might have been one of those things. It's like a yin-yang thing. And like, once they bled over, and then once they stole the devil fruits, it was like, now you're going to be punished. And you're punished by the god of the sea for stepping into the realm of the gods. Mankind, no one was ever supposed to have the power of a devil fruit. No one was ever supposed to eat a devil fruit. And when they did, because of greed, the sea god was enraged and damned them from its powers, damned them from the sea, right? And now the third world, which is the world we're supposedly in right now. And once again, the mural has so much here. We got the tree. We've got the Vikings. We see the samurai of Wano. We see Nika in a form. We see the sun being held by one of the devils, it seems. And there's so much here. We see the whales. We see the sea kings and stuff like that. You know, there's oh my God, there's just so much here. And the third world finally says, within the chaos there was emptiness. The inconvenient remnants recall the promised day and hear the voice of the half moon. The sun god dances and laughs, guiding the world to its end. The sun returns and brings a new morning, and they will surely meet. So, does this mean is the sun god dances and laughs, guiding the world to its end, and the sun returns, brings a new morning? So, is the sun represented by the mother flame? Is it Emu? Is it the sea god? Like, there is so much. The third world is the one that I'm losing the most amount of shit on. Like, I have no real inkling on this one. I think I made a little bit of sense with the first world. Second world, a little more meh. And then, well, obviously the devil's part. But then the third world, man, so much interpretation here. So many possibilities. And, of course, I've been sitting back like this the whole time. It's like, Jesus, I can actually be full front and center, guys. But yeah, very long video, half an hour long review, obviously. So, yeah, in my mind, there is so much to go over here. What do you guys think? I'm just curious about your theories. I've been reading theory after theory on Reddit, Discord, listening to them on YouTube, and stuff like that. And each time I hear a new one, I'm like, oh, that makes so much sense. But so did the other 55 I just, read, right? So there's so many ways to interpret this. I love how Oda handled this, especially depending on the translation. Those words do matter. The translation does matter and will change, the opinions of people's theories and the word context. So this is just the one I'm using, So anyways, let me know what you guys thought of this chapter. Amazing chapter. Apparently there is no break. So I thought I had more time to get this one out, apparently. But this one will probably be out as 1139 comes out. So I'll try to get that one done over the weekend. If it does come out, Thursday, Friday, I will try to get this one 1139 out over the weekend, so we're more caught up. And then I do expect a break then. But yeah, what do you guys think? So many theories, so much to discuss. And how about that Cerberus sword, huh? So, anyways, hope you guys enjoyed. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And hopefully, we finally are caught up with One Piece. Okay. Hope you guys enjoyed. Have a good one. See you back here for the next piece of One Piece. Looking forward to it. Hope you guys are too. See ya.